What's your T-shirt say?
Can you guess?
Italians do it better.
Uh-huh.
All right. Okay, well, we can talk about that in a minute, but welcome back to another episode of Tell Me Where I'm Going Wrong, a podcast with two exes.
Two exes.
All right. Oh my God. With two exes who are still good friends, talk about pop music, politics, and Widdicombe, ghosts, and spiders. Hi, I'm Sean, and that's Josh.
Hi, Sean. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. How are you today, Sean? Are you surviving the continuing heat wave?
Yeah, I don't think it's that hot now, right? It's like 28 degrees or something. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah. I've just come in from work and I had to have a quick shower because, as I've mentioned before, I work under glass, and so I was just like so hot and sweaty when I got home.
So you're wearing as we're starting, we're talking about your T-shirt. Mm-hmm. Your T-shirt says Italians do it better. Mm-hmm. Obviously, famously worn by Madonna in the Papa Don't Preach music video. Mm-hmm. But why are you wearing this shirt? You're not Italian, nor do you do it better.
No, but I could argue that Italians do it better. I am going on Sunday to a Madonna karaoke evening. And so I thought, I need something topical to wear, something Madonna themed to wear. And I thought this was the most fitting. Although I don't know if anyone under 32, 33 would even get the reference.
That's a weird age to say, 32,
well,
33.
I was going to say 35. I was actually a bit younger than that. I reckon if you were
maybe
35,
maybe older. Like, what year did that come out? 1986.
86.
86, right?
Yeah.
So how long ago was that? 40 years ago.
Oh my God.
Right? So 40 years ago. So if someone was 40, they would be 0 when that came out.
And also, like, to a Madonna fan of our generation, it's such an obvious reference, isn't it? Like, it's straight away, you know exactly what it is. But it's weird because she wore it one time in one video, and yet it, for some reason, it sort of became this mythical image of her, like this timeless image of her. But I would love to know why she chose that. I'd love to know where they got that T-shirt.
Well, it was probably just one of these, cheap knockoff shirts that were hanging around New York. Like people wear "I love New York" or "I heart New York."
Well, that's what I was thinking, and I was like, wow. I mean, just the sort of the icon like status that it took on.
Yeah,
is incredible. But yeah, I think younger people, even Madonna fans, may not really know what the reference is.
No,
anyway.
I don't think so, because I see people who are self-professed Madonna fans online who are of younger generations, and they react to songs that, to me, are part of her, mainstream canon, like songs like "Cherish" or I don't know, some of the singles from True Blue, and they're like, oh, I've never heard this song before. What's this? How amazing. I didn't know Madonna had so many bangers. And there are people who have got Madonna as their like profile picture on social media. And I suppose when you've got that much like art or music that you've released over almost 50 years, 45 years, yeah, it's like that's a lot for people to get their head around. But for us, we're the opposite. Like, all of these young people know songs that we've never heard of.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. By the time this episode comes out, I'll have already been to the Madonna karaoke evening. So.
Yeah, I'd like to know, what are you planning on singing?
I don't know yet. Maybe Into the Groove. Holiday.
Is that a bit obvious though? Like,
well, it's not though. I don't, because again.
Well, remember we talked about how it became like
very
really
strange electrical. I'm feeling very like Winona Ryder in Stranger Things. There's all this weird like electrical stuff going on. Like the ceiling light in my room was flickering as we were getting ready. Now my ring light is like, it just got like a lot brighter. So I'm very like I'm spooked. Maybe I think it may be the ghost of Anne Widdecombe or Sam Neill.
The ghost of Anne Widdecombe for sure. But yeah, Into the Groove it went viral. Remember we talked about it on an episode a little while back, and it
Oh yeah,
actually
with
went back into the charts again.
Jim Skin.
So yeah, Jim Scott, a lot of people know, a lot of younger people know that song quite well now.
Mhm.
So if, that might be a bit obvious, maybe you'll have to do something a little bit like left of center.
Deep cut. Rescue Me.
But it's also got to be something in your range, Sue.
Well, Sue, I don't have the range, but also I think you've got to do songs that people know. You can't do the most obscure songs. The point
Why
of
not?
karaoke, I think the point of karaoke is for everyone to enjoy themselves. Um, Last month, I think, when I was there, I did Deeper and Deeper, and people enjoyed that.
Why don't you do Act of Contrition, where
Oh
it's
my
it's
God. What's she saying?
well,
I
it's
repent all my sins.
yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
um,
yeah, because I mean that's like for anyone who doesn't know, that was like a sort of kind of bonus track, but kind of like a bit of a gimmicky track on the end of the Like a Prayer album.
it was like a hidden track that wasn't really hidden.
Yeah, it wasn't hidden. It was listed on this track list, and it had guitars by Prince on it, and it was Madonna reading out some prayers
Mm,
over like the song "Like a Prayer" being played backwards. So it's a bit of a that would be quite a funny thing to do. Uh,
yeah.
Yeah, but like, have you been to any other themed karaoke nights?
Um, I don't think so. No. Have I?
I
Have
I don't
you?
know. Well, we went to a gay bar in the East Village, and it was like a live band, and it was like country
No, that wasn't
karaoke
a
with
gay. That wasn't a gay bar. That was that tiki bar.
no, I think that was at that gay
No,
bar.
it wasn't. It was Otto's Shrunken Head on East 14th. I
Well,
remember.
I thought it was a gay bar because I remember I saw Randy from the Village People there that night. Like, I
Were they dressed in their like village
yeah, well,
people?
he was the original cowboy from the Village People, and he sort of had been in and out of it for decades, and he was a bit of a socialite personality in the East, in Manhattan, in the
Mhm.
East Village, and he was in there, and I went up and said hello, and I think I got a photo with him, and he was
Oh, I
there. It
have
was
no
like
memory of that.
it was like a queer country karaoke thing, and
Mm.
I remember you saying Dolly Parton.
Yeah, here you come again.
Oh, here you come again. But
Yeah.
that's the only sort of themed or themed-ish, like semi-themed karaoke that
Mm,
I can remember going to. I mean, I've
yeah.
seen loads of it, like punk karaoke, and there's a few karaoke things where you can sing with a live band.
Mm,
And I've seen Taylor Swift karaoke advertised,
okay.
but yeah, I've never been to because you think it would have to be someone if it's one particular artist, it would have to be someone with a very, very hefty back catalogue.
Mm,
So you didn't get a lot of repeats.
mm.
You don't want people like 10 people singing the same song.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we'll see what happens on Sunday.
yeah, and
I'll
just in time to celebrate Madonna's album reaching number one on the UK music charts and number
oh,
one on the US music charts as
that's it.
well.
Well, congratulations. Italians do it better.
Wow. What's up with that? Like, people on the East Coast of the USA, like places like New York and Boston, are super obsessed with being of Italian lineage. Like, it's such a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, that I think people in America, white people in America, like non-indigenous people, have being such a young nation, relatively young nation in global uh,
Yeah,
terms. I think a lot of white Americans do lean heavily into their lineage and their ancestry, and it's the same with the Irish population in America. I mean, I've never seen more fervent St. Patrick's Day celebrations in the world than I have in America.
yeah,
And so, yeah, I think Italian and Irish, especially, I suppose, given that. historically they were very much the underdogs, the underclass in American society in years gone by. Um, so being proud of their roots and stuff. So yeah,
It's just like it's such a trope, isn't it? Like people like Madonna or Gaga really lean into it.
yeah,
I mean, Gaga's always going on about being a down home Italian
hmm
girl, and she cooks meatballs, and she carries on about it. It's it's just so I don't know. It just seems like such a stereotypical
it is
thing.
a real trope. Um, Speaking of meatballs, so we did mention it earlier, but Sam Neill died in the last week. And I was just curious to know what your thoughts were, what you knew of Sam Neill.
Well, not a lot. Like, obviously, he was in global hits such as Jurassic Park. I mean, that's the first thing that comes to my brain
Mm,
is Jurassic Park. The second thing that comes to my brain is Dead Calm with Nicole Kidman. And after that, I really have to struggle to think what he was in that
yeah,
I saw. I don't know what he was in. But then I also remember that I got very annoyed because he used to do these ads for either meat or lamb, like or beef, something in
yeah,
Australia, some sort of meat. And what really annoyed me was that he was saying in the advert that humans have evolved to need meat and
mm,
that we have to eat meat. Our brains need meat. And it was just a little, I found it as a vegan and somebody who's, you know, thinks about stuff like this a lot and compassion around animals. I
mm,
found it quite insensitive to people who don't want to eat meat or can't eat meat or whatever, like don't eat meat. And he was saying like, this is what we need to be the best we can be. And I found it really gross. And it kind of just left a sour taste in my mouth whenever I saw him mentioned.
yeah,
That's what I would think of first. Before
yeah.
any movies or anything, as soon as I heard his name or saw him, I would think, oh yeah, there's that dickhead who would advertise meat. That's how I'd think. I don't know
Don't
anything else about him as a person.
don't taunt the spirits, Sue.
But what about you? Like, what if somebody mentioned Sam Neill to you? What's the first thing you think
Well,
of?
of course, the first thing I think is Jurassic Park. Um, and until you said Dead Calm, I would have struggled to name another film role that he'd done, and he must have done hundreds in his lifetime. But I mean, he did obviously the original Jurassic Park, and then appeared in some of the fucking Brontosaurus shit sequels. Um,
Brontosaurus.
and
Well, he
then
came back in that World Dominion thing, didn't he?
it's just awful. But then the other thing I'd seen him in recent years, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was a series on Netflix, I think, set in Yosemite National Park. And I remember when
No
I
idea.
don't know why, it just came on as like a suggested thing after I'd watched something else. And then I was watching it and I thought, God, he really looks like Sam Neill. I wonder who that is. And then I Googled it and it was Sam Neill.
So it
Um,
was quite current. Do you know how old he was when he died?
I don't know, 70 something?
78.
78. Okay.
Yeah. So
Um,
I'm just looking at this list. What if I start at the most current? I honestly like if I said Jurassic Park, I wouldn't even known apart from the first one, I wouldn't have known what else he was in.
yeah.
He's in it. I mean, coming out next year, some films that are in post production. He was going to be in a Godzilla movie, um, a Thor movie in 2022, Jurassic Park in 22, that World Dominion, Peter Rabbit 2. I mean, a hell of a lot of movies. Like he
Mm.
was making at least 2 to 4
You,
movies a year.
you do wonder, don't you? Like when an actor gets to a certain point in their career or a certain age, what the motivation is, because at that point, I'm sure they're financially comfortable and have
Yeah,
provided for all of those people in their lives that they want to provide for. And you
yeah,
do start to wonder, like, what's the motivation? Like someone like Nicole Kidman, who must work, you know, 380 days a year because she's in everything. Um,
Yeah. I suppose it's what you do. It's like,
yeah,
I blog every day as Fat Gay Vegan. I think that if I became financially comfortable, I would probably keep doing it.
yeah,
Like, even though it wouldn't mean anything material to my life,
mm,
I would probably keep doing it because it's what I'm interested in and I have it's my specialty. And I suppose if you're an actor or a director, what else are you going to do with the rest of your time on earth? Like, just go sit at the beach? Like,
mm,
you think to yourself, like, if you were Sam Neill and you had probably quite a few $1 million or pounds in the bank and you could do whatever you want for the rest of your life, unless you had another interest like painting or, some art, some actors do retire and they go off and they do other creative pursuits.
yeah,
But what if his hobby is acting and he just happens to be famous and get paid
yeah. I
for it?
suppose. I
Well,
suppose.
not not anymore. But I'm looking back through this. I mean, there was Jurassic Park 3 in 2001. I'm looking for things that I know. The Horse Whisperer, I've never seen that, but I've heard of it. I'm going way back. I don't know any of these. Oh, there was a movie called Sirens that he was in. Wasn't Elle Macpherson in that as well? Do you
Mm,
remember?
yeah, yeah. Must have been
Um,
quite
the
young.
oh, the piano
Yeah, yeah. Um,
and yeah,
yeah. I don't know. Like, yeah. I mean, I don't want to like have yet another episode of talking ill of the dead, but yeah, he didn't interest me beyond being in Jurassic Park. To be honest, like he that was such a good film, um, and such a sort of touchstone film moment in
yeah.
a lot of people's lives that, yeah, beyond that, I didn't actually really care, partly because of his, you know, views around the consumption of animals and stuff like that. But anyway, um,
But I
but
mean,
speaking,
that's weird, isn't it? Because there's a lot of people, most people on the planet eat meat, and they think that, but we're just annoyed that he was in an ad that was
well, yeah, because
celebrating it.
basically, and I can't remember. I mean, we probably should have done a bit of research, but I'm sure, like, I mean, this was early noughties. We're talking that he was doing this when we were living in Australia, and I'm sure he would like say shit in interviews or in press releases and stuff about, you know, sort of talking shit about vegetarianism, veganism, maybe, or maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe it was simply that, oh yeah, humans need meat to survive or something like that, and it was just like, fuck off,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
yeah,
so he was a high-profile ambassador for Meat and Livestock Australia
right.
for 7 years. He was in red meat and lamb television campaigns
And
that
again,
highlighted the nutritional
I'm sure
benefits.
he probably wasn't doing that for money. I mean, he probably was getting paid, but I don't think it's not like his career was at such a low that he needed to take any gig he could. Um, I think
Yeah.
he genuinely believed in promoting
Yes.
meat. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, "Ugh,"
I think he was one of these weird farmer-interested people who had what they believed a genuine concern for the welfare of farm animals. Like compassion in world farming, where people are like, we love animals. We don't want to hurt them. We want to look after them and make the best farming practices we can, but
yeah,
we also want to eat them,
yeah.
right? So I think he was one of those guys. I think he was interested, had a very,
I don't think he was because why would
no,
you?
I'm saying he had an interest in farm animals.
Yeah, but I
Like
don't think
that
he
was,
was necessarily like a welfarist.
I think he was for farm animals.
But
Yeah, like,
then, but Meat and Livestock Australia were notorious for having horrific practices, like allowing live export of animals and stuff like that. Like, why would he be a spokesperson for
well,
meat?
that's what I'm saying. Like people who have these ideas have very messed up ideas about, they think they can justify. Like I've sat on panels with people who, like our farmers, who say they're totally into looking after animals
Mm,
and their whole life is dedicated to, and they love their animals like they're the extension of their family, but they send
until
them
they
off to
kill them.
slaughter.
Hmm.
You know, and so I think there is a way of thinking around that. That's like the RSPCA. You know, like the RSPCA as an organization, you can go to their events and I don't know if they do anymore, but they used to serve animal products at their fundraising events. And or they would work and get their accreditation put on like eggs in the supermarket
Mm,
and where chickens were still being mistreated. And,
mhm. But
um,
just um, quickly before I forget, like you said, even if I was rich, would I still pursue things or whatever? Like, I did want to just go back to last week's episode. And actually, was it last week or 2 weeks ago when we were talking about? I think 2 weeks ago when we were talking about Taylor Swift's wedding, and we were talking about billionaires. And I suppose there was just like reflecting back on it. I did think there is a level of hypocrisy in our criticism of billionaires to some extent. Like I think there's a need to acknowledge our privilege because we talk about Bill Gates or Elon Musk or Taylor Swift, or we talk about these billionaires and how abhorrent we find this sort of concentration of wealth or amassing of
yeah.
vast quantities of money. And I stand by a lot of what we said. I do think that there should be legislation in place to stop people accruing that amount of wealth. I think it's just completely unnecessary. But what I did think about how privileged you and I are, even though we may not feel like it, and the things that we spend our money on, which to some other people in the world would seem just as abhorrent or just as frivolous or outrageous. Like I paid about £10 for this Italians Do It Better t-shirt to wear it one time.
And
Um,
did you check that it was ethically made,
no,
Sue?
I didn't. I didn't. I hold my hands up to and say I didn't. But this. I mean, I was drunk when I bought it, but that's no excuse. But I suppose my point being that I still think it's outrageous that people spend such huge sums of money on things. But then there'd be people in the world who, like this £10 t-shirt, that might be a week's wages for some people in the world.
Yeah.
And
I think though that when you actually look at the disparity between you at that £10 t-shirt
yes,
and somebody with nothing
yeah,
compared to the disparity between you and Taylor Swift, it's
mhm,
like, the distance from here to the moon or from here to the sun, you
yeah,
know? Like it's completely,
yeah.
completely
It's a whole,
incomparable.
yeah, it's a whole different sort of paradigm. But I suppose I just because we do attract a lot of haters in the comments, and I don't think anyone actually commented on that specifically, but I
I think that's giving us too much credit. We need more haters. We're not getting enough hate.
finally enough hate. Um,
Uh-huh.
but anyway, and then it led me down this rabbit hole of sort of white guilt and like white savior complex and all that sort of thing, which I
Yeah.
know you and I have discussed before, and I just found it very interesting. And I tried to find a nice sort of a good concise article which kind of summarized all of this. I couldn't really find one, so if anyone out there has one that they would like to let us know, please get in touch. But um, a lot of what I read was saying and a lot of it was actually written by psychotherapists or counselors who find that this comes up a lot in therapy, that people feel guilty about complaining about things in therapy or saying they feel upset or compromised or sad about something because they then think about on a global level how insignificant that is and how selfish it is to want certain things when there are so many people in the world who don't have a fifth of what they have or a 20th of what they have. And
Yeah.
I thought that was quite an interesting topic because most of the articles did kind of end up coming to the same conclusion, and that is that your existence is your existence, and there is no point in really comparing your existence to other people's, because it you're not living other people's lives. And so if I feel sad about, I don't know, the fact that I live with my mum and can't afford to live on my own in London, and then I feel guilty because, I mean, I've got a fucking house, a roof over my head and walls and,
Yeah.
a fan going at the moment, when there are people in the world who don't have any of those luxuries, and perhaps it
Yeah,
doesn't
but
actually.
also it I think, when you start thinking like that, you've got to find ways to compartmentalize and to understand that something happens to you individually, and
Mm,
then you're also part of global systems
yeah.
that so you as an individual, you are not oppressing people. You
Well,
might be a prick to people,
I might have
but
bought a T-shirt built
yeah,
made in
but
a
what I'm saying is the
sweatshop.
system that allows that shirt to be made and allows you to dip into it, that also exists. So you can make personal choices, but the broader global systems of oppression need to be changed.
But see, that's all well and good, but then Taylor Swift could argue exactly the same thing, and Elon Musk could argue the same thing, couldn't they?
Well, they're hoarding wealth. They're it's one thing to spend money without thinking ethically or buying something that instead of spending £40 on a t-shirt, you spent 10, right? But once again, it's the distance between the Earth and the Moon or the Earth and the Sun. When there are billionaires, that is how many thousands of people's lifetime of earnings that one person has. You know what I mean? It's bizarre amounts of money,
Mm,
and that's to me that's an unethical system
yeah.
like that. There's no way around that. Whereas, if you go to Primark for a t-shirt, you might have to go there because of the systems of oppression you live within.
Mm,
You might not have an option but to buy sweatshop clothing.
mhm.
Whereas Taylor Swift doesn't have to be a billionaire. Like that's unnecessary. Nobody needs that much
Yeah,
money.
but maybe attacking the individuals, and I don't think we necessarily attacked individuals.
No,
I think
it's
we
not. It's
just,
once again, it's about critiquing the systems of
yeah,
oppression.
and that's it. Like, it's about it's about the systemic issues, not necessarily the individuals. The individuals in it are symptoms or symptomatic of a systemic problem.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Uh,
so that was playing on my mind.
oh, okay. So you're white guilt.
My white guilt. Um,
Hey, do we need an update on Anne Widdecombe? So, do you remember last week we were talking about the death of Anne Widdecombe, the right-wing politician
yes.
in the UK, and that the police had said she'd been murdered, and you said that it looked like it was politically motivated,
Mm,
but then I said, "Hang on, we don't know that." Well, since we um, broadcast that last week, the police have arrested a second person. The first person who had been arrested or taken into custody for questioning had been released,
mhm,
with not saying they had nothing to do with it. Now, this second person apparently is from up north somewhere, and the north of England, and has been arrested, and they've involved the anti-terror police.
mm,
So they think it's connected in some way to an act of terrorism.
mm.
This is pure speculation. But what on earth would that mean, or who would be involved in something like this?
I mean, I know that she was on the radio like a couple of days, or maybe the morning of her murder.
She was meant to be, and she didn't show up because she'd been murdered.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
And
I
her
mean,
publicist couldn't get hold of her, and it was
well,
like 24 hours.
I don't know what her. I've not followed her. You know, her social media posts or her media appearances or anything like that.
Yeah.
In, well, ever. So I don't know what sort of rhetoric she was putting out into the world in the weeks and months leading up to her death. But I imagine that's probably got something to do with it. Um, I don't know.
I mean, or it just could be nothing. It could be. Like, and I don't mean nothing. I mean, the person was murdered, but I mean, it could be no reason that we can make logical connections between. It might be
Oh, yeah.
somebody living with mental health issues
Yeah.
who had became fixated with her for some reason.
Yep.
This is terrifying, isn't it? To be like, you wouldn't want to be a politician in this day and age,
No.
would you? No matter what your views were. Um, like, especially, I think women in the public eye have always been abused and threatened and harmed. I mean, there are politicians in the UK and around the world who have been murdered
Yep.
by, fanatical people who disagree with them. People daily are abused and in public and online.
Mhm.
And it would be such like I've thought a few times in my life, oh, I wonder if I could get involved in politics. I
Mm.
wonder if that's something that I would, enjoy giving back and being a part of solving problems. But I'm not sure that that's something that I would be comfortable doing anymore. How about you?
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, I mean, it's nice to think, "Oh, maybe I can make a difference," but
Yeah.
you're really, putting your life on the line, literally, going into politics. I think it's toxic and it's so polarized, that, yeah, I don't know who would actually want to do that these days. Um,
I was just laughing then because I don't know if we talked about this on the pod, but when I was in Australia last, I was talking to everyone like Kate and Michelle and Derek and Sean about that Australian thing that people do in conversation where you say yeah, no,
yeah, no.
and you just did it. Like you just said yeah, no. And it's such an Australian thing. I don't know if it's an English thing, if people do it here much.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't I've got so many Australian, like, things in my vocabulary or lexicon, whatever.
And then, of
Um,
course, there's also we don't necessarily just say the word no, we say nah, like
we
in
say,
so it's
"No, no."
or like
I really love
eh,
Trixie Mattel's, impression of Australians because she always says the word "no," but it's like 3 syllables. "Nar, nar."
but when I was in the Museum of Brisbane in the City Hall, they
Mhm.
were selling a tote bag that said yeah, comma, nah
Yeah,
at the
no,
bottom of it.
yeah, no.
And I was talking to Michelle especially about what is the psychology around um yeah, nah, because it's such a thing. Like when I was talking to Sean, our friend Sean, like Derek's partner, he did it all the time. It was like the default way he would start a sentence. And I had read, because I got so fascinated going back to Australia and hearing this said by so many people, it was so striking to me
Yeah.
that there's some what do you call somebody who studies language like and the etymology and the development of language
A
and
linguist? Or
maybe a cunning linguist. Um,
Sue?
um, but it was saying how that that whatever that speech pattern had developed,
Mm,
and they don't know exactly why, but it was like a way to minimize and to be non-confrontational when you're speaking to someone
yeah,
because
yeah.
you want to say
No,
no,
but
but
you
you
do
don't
it
want
in
to
a
say
more
no straight
agreeable
away.
way. You do
Yeah.
it in a more larrikin agreeable way.
Yeah. So if you would say, "Are you going to the party tonight? I'd really like you to come." And you could say, "Yeah, no, I'm not going to go. I'm feeling quite tired."
Yeah,
So the
no.
first
Yeah,
the
no.
first word out of your mouth is yes or yeah,
Yeah,
which makes it more palatable to hear.
yeah,
But you will be so shocked at how much people say it in Australia if you go back. It is
yeah.
just rampant. And I don't remember it being a thing when I was a kid.
Yeah, but if you
And
grew up around it, it probably
well, I thought that, but then when I started to read about this linguistic study into it, that it possibly had developed when I was older, that it had been very, very regional, very concentrated, and then it had spread, and now you even get people on the news saying it. It's it's very common.
well, listen, speaking of Australia, I also quickly want to talk about a video that I sent to you, of and it's a real video. At first I was like, surely this must be AI, but it's genuine. And it's a huntsman spider in Australia climbing up a wall, and in its fangs is a dead mouse. So it's actually like, I mean, it does look like it's struggling a bit with the weight, but just to give a sense of how big and strong huntsman spiders are, it's climbing up the wall with a fucking mouse, a dead mouse in its jaws. Did you show that to Hill?
No, I
Yeah,
just can't, because
yeah,
if I ever think that I want him to step foot in Australia again, I couldn't show him that. It's
yeah.
terrifying. I mean, the mouse was as big as the spider, or bigger, right? So
I
how is a
mean,
spider carrying something
yeah.
that big and heavy?
Huntsman spiders are so scary to me. Like, they are so aggressive and so fast and so fucking big.
Are they
They
venomous?
terrify. They are venomous. I don't think they'll kill you. They might kill a very tiny baby or a very unwell person, but um, oh, I,
Can I ask you that again and you answer by saying yeah, no?
mhm.
Are huntsman are huntsman spiders venomous?
Yeah, no, no. Um, yeah. So I mean, you must have some huntsman spider stories to share with our listeners and viewers.
Well, much like I don't notice linguistic patterns when I'm immersed in them, you just get used to spiders in Australia. It just when you grow up in Australia, it is just such a everyday part of life to have spiders living in your house. You see spiders everywhere. You walk through the local park on the way to the shops. There's spiders, massive. You know what? Do you remember what it was like if you went to the Brisbane Botanic Gardens and there would just be a wall of spider webs with
Hmm.
all different types of spiders?
Hmm.
Were you shocked when you came to Australia?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think I had a proper interaction with a huntsman spider until I moved back and was living in Brisbane. Um, and Michelle's house, her old house in Corinda,
Yes.
was fucking full of huntsman spiders. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still traumatized. Uh,
Well, I think what a lot of people who haven't been to Brisbane don't realize, like, it's a city, but you can even live in like what would be the same as zone one or zone two, and you've got almost rainforest scrubland in your back garden.
mhm.
So you've got these wild scrub turkeys running around. There are huge lizards in your
Yeah,
garden.
like
There are
water
possums.
dragons,
There are
snakes.
yeah, possums jumping from landing on the roof of your house, making a noise. Spiders everywhere.
I remember I was on the way to work once when we lived in Kangaroo Point. I was on my way to work and I saw a fucking python, like just python, just slithering across the path like it
Just
ain't no
just
thing.
kicking it, just kicking
Yeah.
it.
Um, yeah.
And what about that time that when we were in Sydney and there was a spider on the back of the car,
I think I must have told that story on the podcast before, no?
and you couldn't drive. You had to pull into a gas station and jump out of the car. But while you jumped out of the car, the spider went under the car because it
It
had been on the back
it
windscreen, and you
was
couldn't get back in the car.
so we were driving along in Sydney in like a 4-lane dual carriageway sort of thing. And I looked in the rearview mirror and there was this huge spider. I mean, it was probably about, what's that? About 15 centimeters across. I mean, it was huge. It was a huntsman. And
15 centimeters if it was a meter, Sue.
so, and I couldn't tell if it was on the inside of the back windscreen or the outside. And so I was like turning around. And in the meantime, like driving into another lane of traffic. And so, like, I nearly crashed the car. Cars were honking. And so I was like literally shitting myself. And we had to go forwards because we were in traffic. And I pulled into the first petrol station. And I was so scared that the spider was sort of above the driver's door that I made Sean get out and go around the other side to make sure the spider wasn't just waiting. Because, okay, this is going to make me sound like either a maniac or a fucking what's it called, like narcissist, or I don't know what word, but I do have history, and I've got the receipts. I've got a history of like animal encounters. Like I've told the story about the sharks in New Jersey
Oh
on
my
the podcast
God.
before, but I do have a history of being some sort of like beacon or magnet to animals.
Yeah.
And so I was convinced that there was a spider waiting for me. So I made Sean go around the outside, and it wasn't there. But yeah, we couldn't find the spider. I think we got like a jet wash hose thing that they have at the petrol stations there, and tried to like
I,
blow.
I think we saw it under the car, and you were getting me with a stick to try and knock it out, and I just couldn't. It crawled up further under the car. And I said to you, you're just going to have to drive home.
I mean, I was
And
nearly crying. I was
yeah,
like
you were like
absolutely
shaking.
beside
And because
myself.
I don't know how to drive,
Yeah,
I can't drive. I don't have a license. So there was no option. And I was saying to you, what are we going to do? Just leave the car on the side of the road? And you were like, I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to
yeah.
leave it here and like come back.
I've
Or
I think I've told the story before about where my fear of spiders comes from, haven't I?
yeah, I
About
think so. When you were a kid and you took a trip and
Yeah, well, involuntarily took acid, like someone spiked my drink, and I had a really bad trip, um, and so like other animals can scare me, but they don't freak me out to the same degree. Like snakes, snakes. Obviously, I have an element of fear about, but
yeah,
when it's spiders and scorpions as well, because scorpions to me are just spiders with fucking tails and pincers. Um, like,
they're just spiders with a Mexican accent.
mhm. um, but they they have this really weird like primal effect on me where I absolutely like just fucking lose my shit.
But
Uh,
you're so scared of them, and it's dates back so far in your life that you're also convinced that there's some psychic connection that they seek you out.
well, again, not wanting to sound like a lunatic, but I think that they
Well,
do.
don't why stop now, Sue?
Well, exactly. Um, like I have so many spiders. Like when we were together, don't you think we had a lot, like an inordinate amount of like spider encounters?
Yeah,
And
but I would have had just as many before I knew you, but I didn't react that way, so I
maybe,
don't remember them,
but
so
like
you remember them.
But I have like a weird. Okay, I mean, I am I'm to myself. I'm sounding a bit uh, lo- bit like a lunatic, loony. Um, like I live in London now, West London, and like a few months ago, I think it was in like the cooler months when there's giant house spiders like are on the march, and I was lying in bed in the dark, and I could hear like pitter patter footsteps. And like bearing in mind, I've got moderate hearing loss. Um, I turned on my bedside light, and there was a enormous spider walking towards my bed in the middle of the night. And again, like I woke up, I heard it, even though I shouldn't be able to hear that. Do you know what I mean? Like I have some weird, like
That's some sort of Peter Parker bullshit.
spidey senses.
Uh-huh.
And then I also, just a couple of weeks ago, I watered the plants on my windowsill in my bedroom. And did you see the video? I can't remember if I sent it to you.
No, I don't think I saw it.
About 200, at a conservative estimate, about 200 baby spiders like scattered throughout my bedroom. And I was like, great. I mean, they were tiny, but they're in every recess of my bedroom as we speak, getting bigger. And they're all going to come out and fucking terrorize me at some point in
Well,
the future.
maybe you just need to learn a way of harnessing the psychic connection you have with spiders and treating it as a force of good instead of evil.
And psychically encouraging them to leave me the fuck alone.
Well, they're doing good things for the ecosystem, especially if you've got plants. They help control mites and the insects. So,
They'll drag a dead mouse up my wall.
No, mites, I said.
Oh, lice. Lice.
No, M-I-T-E-S.
Yeah.
Mites.
That's what I said. They'll drag a dead mouse up my wall.
No, mite. M-I-T. T for
Oh,
Tommy.
yeah, no. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no,
God. See,
mites, not
that's the
mice.
hearing loss I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah, I can still hear the little pitter-patter of giant spider
Okay.
footsteps.
Well, we're going to wrap up. So in the next minute of this podcast, if a spider crawls up the wall behind you, we'll know that the psychic connection is real. And if it doesn't, we know you're just talking rubbish.
Okay.
But anyway, if you want to subscribe to this podcast, we'd appreciate that. Leave us a review, a thumbs up, whatever you need to do. It'd be great. Appreciate it. And leave a comment. Let us know about your spider horror stories if you've got any. I'm hosting the Queer Vegan Disco on August 21st in Wood Green in North London. Maybe Josh can put the link to the tickets below.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Josh? Anything you want to share with people?
No, come along on Friday the 21st. It's my 50th birthday that day, even though I don't normally celebrate, but I'm making an exception this year because it's such a milestone. So come
It's
along.
a milestone because it's 50 years where you haven't been killed by a spider yet. You have to celebrate.
Not yet. So yeah, come along to that. Other than that, just check me out. I'm doing some open mics around town, so come see me play. And yeah, do hit subscribe and let us know your arachnoid adventures.
Okay. Well, it's lovely having you all with us. I hope you're all well. Farewell to Sam Neill, even though neither of us liked him very much or didn't care for him very much. And yeah, watch out for spiders. And we will see you next week.
All right, folks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.